What's going on, guys? My name is Thomas Unger, realtor with Stonehouse Realty and Unger Real Estate. And if you're like me, living in the Metro Vancouver, Greater Vancouver area, or in the Fraser Valley, you're probably in your fourth or fifth week of social isolation, sort of self-quarantine, where business has been shut down or slowed right down. Now, a lot of things have changed, including Vancouver real estate. I've been looking really closely at the data, the information, the news that's being released, and been thinking about really deeply about what the long-term and the short-term effects of the coronavirus are going to have on the Vancouver real estate market. Now, the challenging part of an economic analysis like this is just that the scope is so huge, right? There are so many factors affecting the market, and then the cadence of information is also so fast, right? That's one of the things about living in the 21st century here, is that news is just released so quickly that, it seems that information is updated or even outdated from one day to the next. So my goal here is to make a data-backed prediction of where I think the market is going to be going towards the end of 2020 or whenever COVID-19 is over. So I'd like to start by first looking backwards, right? If we go back to 2019 was a really slow year historically for Vancouver real estate. Looking at the month of March or February, I believe it was the slowest February since 1992. So the slowest February in 27 years. I think there were just over 850 deals, and there are 15,000 realtors in just the Metro Vancouver board. So literally, less than 1 out of every 15 realtors did a deal in the month of February. It was really, really slow times. Fast forward on later into the year, cyclically, we usually see slowdowns in the colder months. People want to be moving in the springtime and summertime. That's when most realtors do, 40 to 60% of their business, I'd say, in the warmer months. But throughout the winter, things were moving really, really quickly, even into December. And then January, February, early March of 2020 were off at like a lightning pace. Things were moving really, really quickly. Even the buzz just around the office, it was super lively. Things were going on, right? It was super busy. We were seeing modest price increases in some markets. And then sort of the first event happened of 2020. Insurance premiums took a hit, right? So over the years, the price of housing has gone up like crazy, but premiums have not gone up to the same degree. So there were a couple large claims, and basically premiums increased quite substantially, doubled, tripled in many cases for stratas, and then these costs were passed along to owners in their monthly strata fees, right? So overall, affordability went down across all product types, and this was a little bit of a hold up on the market. Basically, that held pricing pretty constant, even pulled it down in some areas, really on a case by case, even building by building basis though. Now, late March, early April, the COVID-19 protection plan came into place, right? Where social distancing and the self-quarantining were being more strictly enforced across all of BC. And this really slowed down the market, basically brought things to a complete standstill for myself anyways. And really quickly, real estate was deemed an essential service, so we were allowed to keep practicing, but it wasn't business as usual. It was more of a case-by-case basis. So, for example, people that had to sell, if you had a divorce, if you had an estate sale, if there was a death in the family, if there were must-sell reasons, perhaps you were immigrating into the country or new to town and you were buying a place, must-have transactions were happening, but the people that were just sort of shopping, perusing the market, looking for opportunities to come up, those really slowed down, and makes sense because no sellers are really going to want people walking through their houses. Open houses were canceled altogether, and we sort of moved to a more virtual format. So that's the good thing about real estate these days, is that there are videos, virtual tours, photos, and if you're really truly interested in a property, you can do a video walkthrough before actually going to see it in person. So you can do a lot of homework before committing yourself to a showing. So that's a good thing about the times. But all in all, I think every realtor will tell you that coronavirus has had a huge effect on their own business and slowed things down quite a lot. So fast forward to the end of 2020, to when coronavirus is over, when things are gonna start to be lifted. What is that climate gonna look like? Well, what I'm hearing from a lot of realtors is that, there's all these buyers and all these sellers right now during the virus that really want to buy, and people that really want to sell. So when this is over, the floodgates are going to open, sort of thing. All these new listings are going to rush onto the market, and all these new buyers are going to be there to chop them up, basically, or to buy them. And with that, there's going to be a demand and supply burst, and prices are going to remain really stable. Well, that's a really Econ 101 analysis of what's going to happen, when really we need to be, taking the Econ 401 stance on this, and be looking at some of the other causal factors that are in the environment that are going to be affecting prices. So, consumer spending is way down. That's a sign that confidence isn't very high in the market. Consumers are attempting to save more money at this point. In general, household debt of Canadians is at an all-time high. $2.5 trillion is what Canadian household debt is. We're the most indebted of the G7 countries. With Corona, unemployment is way up, and when things go back to normal, or the new normal, they're not going to go from 0 to 100. It's going to be incremental. So people will slowly get their jobs back, and things will slowly start to ramp back, and it might even be pulled back a couple times. And for us to reach that 100% mark, let's say we were at 100% in February of this year, that might take a full year. That might even take longer. We might get to 80, and 80% might be the new status quo for up to the next 12 to 18 months. Who knows how long it's going to take, but there's not going to be this flood of listings and flood of buyers coming to the market all at once, because people are going to be in different situations, and it's going to ramp up just like the economy is going to. Now, I have no doubt that it will again be very, very busy, and that we'll be back to work in 12, 14-hour days, but that's not going to happen from one day to the next overnight. So that brings me to my prediction of where I think prices are going to go. Now, my opinion, and everyone has an opinion on Vancouver real estate, right? Like you talk to everyone, they have some sort of idea. My opinion, and it's just an opinion, and what everyone says is just their opinion, so please take this with a grain of salt, is that the probability of a downturn is extremely high. So the odds are just so stacked up on this one side that odds of it going down, they're very, very high. Now, who knows what's going on, in government, what's happening. I know quantitative easing is happening like crazy. Money's trying to be injected into the economy. They're really trying to keep things moving and stimulated, and the government doesn't want there to be a huge downturn, because that's bad for business. They're trying to keep things afloat, but odds of a decrease are substantial. So there's a couple different boats that people are gonna land in. There's gonna be the winners, the losers, and the people that aren't really affected at all. So the people that are gonna be winners in the outcome of this, if there are any, let's say as a matter of speaking, the winners are going to be the essential service workers, right? The people who were working construction, who have had steady jobs throughout the whole virus, nurses that were getting paid time and a half and really padding their paychecks and making a lot of money. The losers are going to be people that have multiple investment properties, right? That they, HELOC'd to buy. They pulled out all the equity out of their main home, their forever home, and used it to buy 2, 3, 4 investment properties, even one investment property that they weren't cash flowing on. And now the government isn't going to grant them, or the banks aren't going to grant them 6 months of mortgage payment like they are everyone else. They're granting them 1 month of mortgage deferment. And a lot of these people are going to have to sell. So there's going to be a lot of these sort of opportunities coming to the market. And then there's going to be the people who it doesn't affect really at all. The people who, perhaps weren't going to be buying for a couple years, people who have been in the market for some time, people who are doing a long-term hold. My buyers that I'm working with that are, let's say renting a condo in downtown Vancouver for $2,500 a month right now, and looking to buy. Well, if you're renting at $2,500 a month, and you wait 10 months to buy and prices have gone down $25,000, well, that $25,000 decrease, you would have just been paying yourself anyways. So net, you're in the same place. So if you're renting and spending $2,000, $1,500, whatever it is on rent, then you're never really going to be in a bad position to buy unless prices are decreasing at a rate far greater than what you're renting at, which likely isn't going to happen. Another situation is if you're buying and selling in the same market, right? If you're selling and prices are going up, you get a smoking hot sale, well then you're buying up here and prices have gone up here. But if you're selling in that same market, or in a market where things are going down, well then you're selling a little bit lower, but you're also buying a little bit lower. So if you're trading one for another, then it's not going to be affecting you as much. So those are my thoughts on what the next couple months are going to look like, what it's going to look like easing back into the normal or the new normal. The probability of a decrease in pricing is extremely high. And those are my thoughts. If you have any questions, I'd love to chat about it more. Please post something in the comments or feel free to reach out to me directly. As always, if you are hoping to buy or sell, whether that be now or in a year from now, I would love to have a conversation and would love the opportunity to work with you. My name is Thomas Unger with Stonehouse Realty, and we'll catch you in the next one.